The Shroud of Turin, scientific evidence, or an unsolved mystery why the image on this cloth has the whole world debating. What if you saw a face on cloth, but no one knew how it was made? Imagine standing in front of an ancient piece of cloth. On it appears the image of a man marked with unmistakable signs, beaten, crowned with thorns, nailed, and wounded in the side. Not the kind of image that looks drawn to resemble a body, but the kind that many forensic experts claim they can read through the direction and flow of the bloodstains. But the strangeness doesn't stop there. This image is said to have three properties at the same time. It resembles a photographic negative. When inverted, the face becomes clearer. It feels almost like an X-ray with details that seem deeper than the surface. And when brightness and darkness are analyzed, it produces a form of 3D data. The problem is this. The cloth is believed by some to have existed centuries before humans invented photography, X-rays, or holograms. That is why the Shroud of Turin is not only a religious relic, it has become a puzzle that has lasted for hundreds of years. The biggest question isn't only, is this truly the burial cloth of Jesus? It's also, if this is not a painting, not ink, not dye, then how was this image formed? Some people believe that if the resurrection was a truly one-of-a-kind event, perhaps it left behind a physical imprint on the cloth. It sounds unbelievable, but it's precisely that unbelievable quality that makes it impossible for so many people to look away. In this video, we will follow the line of argument presented in the material you provided, from image analysis to material science, to the physics of light, to forensic details, and even the famous controversy surrounding the 1988 radiocarbon C14 test. And at the end, I'll ask you one question. Do you think you're looking at evidence or a phenomenon we still cannot explain? What is the Shroud of Turin, and why does its image not look like a painting?
This diagram clearly illustrates distance-based shading. The objects further away have lower contrast and are shaded with a cooler,
According to the description in the material, the Shroud of Turin is believed to be the cloth that wrapped the body of Jesus after the crucifixion.
Without paint.
But what shocks people most is the mechanism behind the image. If it were a painting, you would expect to find traces of ink, dye, pigment, brush strokes, or at least some kind of surface coating. Yet the argument in the material claims there are no clear signs of ink, dye, pigment. Instead, it looks as if the cloth fibers were discolored in an extremely thin surface layer. It resembles a kind of aging of the cloth in very specific areas, and the degree of that aging changes with distance. So the question becomes, is there a way to create an image using light or energy without painting? The Hiroshima analogy. How human shadows can appear without anyone drawing them. The material presents a haunting comparison, the Hiroshima shadows. After the atomic blast, human silhouettes appeared on walls and sidewalks, as if someone had printed people onto stone. Many assumed someone had painted them. But the explanation offered is that extreme heat and light bleached the surrounding surface, while areas shielded by the body retained their original tone, creating a shadow. The key takeaway of this analogy is powerful. No brush needed, no ink needed, no direct touch needed, just an energy source strong enough to alter a surface. Of course, the Shroud of Turin is not Hiroshima, but the material argues that there may be a similar principle at work, an image formed through energy-driven surface change. 6 similarities and 1 difference that makes Turin unique.
Is the lack of distortion. When I trace the river here,
the material lists several similarities. The body was extremely close to the recording surface. The closer the body, the clearer the image. The farther away, the image fades and disappears. UV radiation may be involved in the image formation. The surface behaves like a kind of film. Nearness produces sharper detail. But one difference is emphasized. With Hiroshima, the shadow does not encode detailed distance information. With Turin, the material claims the darkness and lightness of the image, encode the distance between the body and the cloth, to the point that when processed through brightness analysis, such as VP8, it can yield a 3D model.
But this is precisely where
This becomes one of the strongest arguments for those who believe the shroud is extraordinary. If it were a painting, why would it contain 3D data in this way? Only one. In 200 fibrils discolored the tiniest detail that makes science pause. One crucial point in the material states that when the cloth fibers are magnified to an extreme level, only about 1 out of 200 tiny fibrils shows discoloration. And even more striking, the discoloration appears only in an extremely thin surface layer, like superficial aging, oxidation, dehydration, not deep penetration like dye. If this is true, the material argues that it would be difficult for any ancient technique to target the exact thinness and do so uniformly across a cloth of this size. This leads to the material's central hypothesis. The image was not created by adding pigment, but by altering the surface. The laser-like UVB hypothesis and the question, where did that energy come from? The material suggests that the most plausible candidate for producing such extremely shallow discoloration would be very intense UVB radiation, focused like a laser. Why UVB? Because UV can accelerate surface aging similar to sun-tanning skin. But to produce a highly selective effect, like 100 fibrils discolored, the light would need to be extremely concentrated, unlike normal sunlight. The material notes that the closest recreations have only succeeded using lasers under special conditions. And then the unavoidable question hits. If the cloth truly belongs to the 1st century, who had a UVB laser? From there, the material offers a bold speculation. The human body emits extremely weak photons connected to DNA. And if there were some mechanism that massively amplified that emission, it could generate enough energy to imprint an image. This is the most imaginative and most controversial section. Because it touches a boundary, science can speak about photons, but resurrection-style amplification remains an open hypothesis in the material. A 3-in-1 image negative, X-ray, hologram, and why that's strange. The material describes the image as an unusual combination. Inverted into a negative, it becomes clearer. Some areas appear to record deeper structure hands that seem to show bone. And it produces 3D data when brightness is analyzed. If it were a painting, a 3D analysis would typically distort. But the material emphasizes that the shroud yields a relatively realistic 3D form. This is used to challenge the claim that it is merely a medieval forgery. The 1988 C14 controversy. Medieval fake or contaminated sample. A famous turning point was the 1988 radiocarbon dating test, which produced a date range pointing toward the 14th century, leading many to conclude it's fake. But the material argues that the sample was taken from an edge area that had been repaired after damage, and that region may contain cotton fibers and dye, not representative of the main cloth, which is linen. Under this argument, the C14 sample was contaminated, so the result would not reflect the true age of the entire cloth. This is where the debate becomes intense. One side sees C14 as strong evidence. The other says the sample location was wrong and mixed with later material. Forensics, a real person beaten, crowned with thorns, nailed dead. Yet no sign of decay. The material goes deeper into forensic details. Whip marks, wounds, crown of thorns, injuries, nail wounds in wrists and feet. A side wound with blood and fluid body posture, and more. It especially emphasizes the blood stains came first. The light image appeared later, two-stage formation. There are no clear signs of long-term decomposition, as if the body remained in the cloth for an extended period. From there, the argument is connected to the gospel narrative: beaten, crucified, pierced in the side, wrapped in a burial cloth. And the third day. What question is this cloth really asking you?
The dye in this repaired region, as hypothesized, is clearly distinct from the
A notable point near the end of the material is this: the presenter emphasizes. The goal is not to worship a piece of fabric, not to recruit people into an organization.
The idea that
But to
cinema
ask
can
a personal
exist in a state of
question,
pure authenticity
who do
is
you think the
naive.
person in this cloth is?
Is inevitable.
That is what pushes the story beyond lab tests or academic debate. Because in the end, whether you stand in skepticism or belief, you still face this. If this is fake, it is a forgery so strange that it has fueled centuries of unresolved scientific and historical argument.
These are definite nail wounds.
But if it is real, then it becomes a kind of witness that forces a deeper question.
Angle of impact here suggests
Where do you
the
stand in
growth
front of the
of
resurrection story? Evidence
Notice
or a
the
mirror,
directionality of
reflecting what we
secondary
believe, what we believe?
Two-stage claim is this. Blood stains first.
According to the materials line of argument, the Shroud of Turin is not merely an ancient artifact. It resembles a difficult record, blood stains, an extremely thin surface image, a negative-like formation, and what appears to be 3D information.
There are absolutely no
And so,
clear
it
signs
becomes a
of
living
long-term
question.
decay on the fibers of the cloth.
Science can measure, scan,
We
analyze.
see clear evidence of trauma at these
Yet some
points.
things ultimately touch
While
the
it
deepest
aligns with
layer
the
of belief.
historical record, attributing it
Maybe the
solely
most
to
important thing is not winning a debate, but choosing your posture in front of a mystery like this. Skepticism in pursuit of
The
truth,
focus is not
faith in pursuit of meaning,
fabric,
or both, so you are neither blind nor cold. If you had to choose one, which way do you lean, a forgery or an unexplained phenomenon, and why? Which detail gives you the strongest reaction, the negative image, the 3D data, or the claim that only 1/100 fibrils are discolored?
an entirely
And the biggest question, if the person in the shroud truly is Jesus, what would that change in the way you see your life?